after that, I flew to Barcelona in Spain. And Barcelona, they like to party late in Barcelona. So you don't really get this in Australia, where things close at like 2 or 3 a.m. People go home, that's the end of the night. You know, and people usually go out at about 10 or earlier in Australia when they're going out to bars or clubs. In Europe, or at least in Barcelona, it wasn't really like that. It was more like, you know, people would go out at like 11 or 12 or even 1 in the morning, and then the clubs would, you know, get full around 3 o'clock. You know, it'd be really pumping, and then, you know, people would go home at like 6 or 7 in the morning type thing, you know, when the light was coming up. And then they'd have a later work day, and then have a siesta, and then they'd work later into the evening. So that was interesting. So the first couple of nights there was just like partying during the night, sleeping during the day. So that was fun to get used to. But after that, I went to Paris, and I was actually in Paris for New Year's, which was amazing because there was fireworks everywhere, and I had people that I knew in Paris that I could stay with. So I ended up staying there for I think about 2 weeks, maybe even more, in Paris, because I'd actually lost my credit card, and so I was waiting on money to get transferred over to me. So I was just hanging with the friends that I knew in Paris, which was really lucky because Paris is super expensive, and it would have cost me a fortune if I was staying in like hostels or things like that. But luckily I knew people, so my accommodation was free. From Paris I went across to Mannheim, which I actually met someone in Bogota earlier who lived in Mannheim, and she was like, hey, I live in Mannheim, if you're coming through you should totally give me a visit. And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome, I'll do that. So I went across to Mannheim, stayed there, checked out that city, that was really cool. And so from Mannheim I went to Liechtenstein, which is a tiny little country below sort of Germany, and it's right on Switzerland. And I really wanted to go there because it was so small, and they had like one ski resort, and so I was like, yes, I want to go skiing in Liechtenstein, that will be awesome. And so I made my way down there and got to the ski resort, and it wasn't very crowded when I got there. There was hardly anyone at the ski resort, and it was just sort of one valley that was dotted with houses up the center of the valley, and then there was like a lift on either side of the valley to take you up, and then you can ski down that side. So, you know, I think there was only like 3 lifts on the entire skiing resort, and when you got to the top of the lifts, you looked out and there's just like these, you know, crazy mountains as far as you could see that are snow, you know, covered and stuff, because it was the Swiss Alps type thing that I was on. And so it felt like the end of the world when I was there. Like, you sort of go as far as you can, you up the ski resort, and then just beyond that is the end of the world. So that was a pretty cool experience. And it was really fun skiing down, because you ski down the first bit and then you get to the center of the valley and you got all of these houses dotted along, and you had a road that sort of wound up through the houses, but because it was all covered in snow, you could snow down that road. So you sort of got into the center of the valley, and then you were just darting between all of these different houses that people were living in. There's fire, you know, chimneys are going and stuff, and going through, you know, along the road and back until you got down to the bottom where you could get the lift back up. So that was really, really fun. And then from there I went to Innsbruck in Austria, which is very popular for snowboarding, Innsbruck in Austria. And I got there and found out that it was like the first Youth Winter Olympic Games was being held in Innsbruck when I got there. And I was like, awesome, like what are the odds? I hadn't planned for this at all. I just got in there, rocked up, and found, you know, there was all these banners and people around and this big hustle and stuff. And so yeah, the Winter Olympic Games. So that was a lot of fun. We actually, you know, I met this Australian guy in hostel I was staying at, and we were like, oh, you know, we've got to see if we can go to one of these events, you know, while it was still on, because it was the last couple of days. And then we're like, oh, the final for men's ice hockey is on. And we're like, yes, let's totally do that. And so we went down and we were looking around and we're trying to find a ticket somehow. And then this like old guy's like, yeah, I can sell you some tickets, no worries. And we're like, hell yeah. And then he like sold us these tickets. It was all very dodgy. And then we found out that one of the tickets was for like inline skating or something for 3 days ago. So, you know, we totally got ripped off. But one of the tickets was good, but there was 2 of us. So what we had to do was go in, like one of us went in with a ticket, and there was 2 gates to enter this stadium. And one of us went in with a ticket, and then we both went around to like the other gate, and my friend inside is like, oh, I just need to talk to my friend, he's just there. And the security guard's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can talk to him. And so we sort of talked to each other, and he gave me the ticket. And then I walked back around to the other side, and I got in with that ticket, so we're both in. So we're both like, yes! And then it was amazing. This is the first time I'd ever been to an ice hockey game, because there's no ice hockey in Australia. And, you know, it was like, I think it was the Netherlands versus Russia in ice hockey, youth ice hockey. And it was intense. And like there was shoving going on and all these fouls, and like Russia was in the sin, they had like 2 people in the sin bin the whole time. You know, it was even, it was 1 up, 1 down the whole way along, and then it was even at the very end. So they had to have extra time, and they went through the extra time and nobody scored. And then, so they had to go to a penalty shootout, and Russia went first and they got a certain amount. And then like the Netherlands went after that, I think it was the Netherlands, and they went after that, and they'd gotten it, and it came down to like the last person, and he had to get it in to win the game. And then he got it in, and everyone's like, yeah! And the whole team went crazy, and, you know, they threw everything onto the ice, and yeah. We went snowboarding for like, I went snowboarding for a full week, made lots of friends through the hostels and on the slopes that I'd met, and you catch a bus from the center up to the different mountains. There was like 5 different mountains or something you could choose from, and the snow was amazing, snowboarding was amazing, I loved it. So that was really cool. And then after that, I went up to Munich in Germany. On the beach, also really beautiful views and waters and white sands. And then from there, I went down to like a border town and went across by boat into Belize and went to this island and stayed there. And that was right next to the Blue Hole, the big blue hole that a lot of people go skydiving over and diving into. It's very popular.